Hello, good morning, and welcome along to this Liverpool news roundup here on Anfield Agenda. My name is Conor, and I'm going to take you through all of the latest Liverpool news after Liverpool did defeat Tottenham Hotspur 2-1 in the Premier League yesterday. An unconvincing victory against 9 men, it must be said, but 3 points is 3 points at the end of the day. So we have I think it's a positive. I think it's a positive update around Alexander Isak, it must be said. It's still not great by the sounds of it, but it's sounding a little bit more positive than it did last night around his injury. We have a little bit on Conor Bradley and Jeremy Frimpong as well then. They did come off, of course, and as well as that, Florian Wirtz was seen holding his hamstring coming off at the end of the game. So a few injury worries there. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about the performance last night, where Liverpool sit in the Premier League currently, and where do we go from here. So please do hit the like button before we get into it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new, and let's jump straight into the news. Let's start with Alexander Isak then, who of course did come off after, seconds after scoring a goal, to be fair. It did look like a very nasty injury, like he was down straight away, like you could see he was almost in tears, he had his face covered, he was holding what looked to be his knee, which really triggered all of us, I think, into thinking like, Jesus, this is going to be very, very bad, isn't it? But it does sound a little bit more positive this morning. James Pearce has come out and said that Alexander Isak is set to undergo scans to confirm the extent of an injury picked up during Spurs versus Liverpool. Injury is suspected to be the lower leg rather than the knee, which would be fantastic. Like, it's still probably going to be a few weeks out at best case scenario, but if it's not the knee, that has to be good news, because anything involving the knee is always just like so complicated. It's multiple months out. Like an ACL, God forbid, if it was that, will be at least probably 9 months, as Giovanni Leone is now seeing as well. He's still not completely out of the woods. It could still be very bad, but it is looking more positive this morning at least. So we do have a report here from Physio Scout on X, who kind of done a breakdown of what the possible implications could be, and he said Alexander Isak had to come off in Liverpool versus Spurs with a leg injury. Scissor tackle type mechanism typically brings concern for a high/medial ankle sprain, potentially due to forced ankle eversion and rotation. Fibula, lower leg bone, also is a common injury site due to direct contact. These types of tackles can also place stress on the knee structures due to forced valgus, particularly the MCL. ACL is also vulnerable, but less likely. Expected recovery time: if high ankle sprain, 8 to 10 weeks. If medial ankle sprain, 2 to 6 weeks. If MCL, depending on grade, can range from 2 to 12 weeks. More likely scenario here is a high ankle sprain. X-rays and further scans will be needed to clear any fracture site. So, judging from that, we're looking at maybe 8 to 10 weeks, which is far from ideal. Like, he's starting to get into a stride, scoring a few goals. I'm still not completely convinced by his performances, in all honesty, but that aside, like, that finish yesterday was fantastic. Like, you look back at it, the more you see it, that is a proper poacher's finish. It's exactly what we brought him in to do. And if he is going to be out for, like this, as 8 to 10 weeks, that is completely awful, obviously. But looking on the bright side, it could have been far worse. Like, when he went down, I'm not going to lie, I was straight away just like, yeah, that's definitely his ACL, 100%. Like, that's just our luck. That is what would happen. It would be an ACL. But from this, it looks like it mightn't be. Like it said there, 8 to 10 weeks if it's a high ankle sprain, which this physio seems to reckon it probably is. I'm sure we will hear in the next day or two just kind of the extent of this injury, but look, 8 to 10 weeks, it's far, far, far from ideal, but it's far a lot better than the alternative. So let's be slightly positive about that, if that is the case, of course. Slot, speaking on Isak's injury then after the game, had this to say: so, I don't have any news about him, Slot said of Isak. If a player scores and then gets injured and doesn't try to come back, that's usually not a good thing. But I can't say any more than that. Let's hope he's back with us soon. And he did, of course, make reference to the fact that Conor Bradley went down with a knock and tried to continue, which is what you want to see in a situation like this. Like, he comes back on the pitch. He did come off eventually, to be fair, but he obviously wasn't too bad that he could try to come on. But Isak, yeah, just straight down after the goal. Looked like he was in tears, covering his face. I think he was fearing the worst as well. But yeah, like the fact he wasn't straight up trying to get back onto the pitch, just trying to stay on, is not a good sign. But again, it could be far, far worse. Let's just cross our fingers, hope and pray that it's not the worst case scenario. Maybe it is something like an ankle sprain or an MCL, which wouldn't be half a series of something like an ACL. Some other injury concerns then. So Florian Wirtz was holding his hamstring while he came off the pitch at the end of the game, which, look, he wasn't injured exactly, but something to keep an eye on. Let's hope we don't hear any news on him in the next couple of days. Hopefully it was just a bit of cramp or a bit of fatigue rather than an actual injury. So hopefully nothing on that one. Jeremy Frimpong, of course, then was taken off as well. Arne Slot did explain that he basically just whip them off for the last minute or two, get someone else on, get Case on in this case, just to make sure we didn't go down to 10 men more than anything. And like Jeremy was just bleeding all over the place as well, so probably no harm getting him off, getting that lip bandaged up, or bandaged, don't think he'd bandaged the lip or stitched up, whatever. But yeah, he was bleeding all over the place. No injury concern with him. He should be grand for the next game. And he looked really good when he came on, to be fair. Like, for a lad who has missed a lot of football in the last few months, like, he did look sharp. Got the assist for Hugo Ekitike, of course, with a fantastic cross and an even better header. So moving on to Hugo Ekitike, like, just how good is this man? Like, Hugo Ekitike, he has changed my life. What's that, like 10 or 11 goals now he has in all competitions? He's climbing up the Premier League scoring charts. I think I've seen a stat, he now has the most non-penalty goals in the Premier League, bar Erling Haaland. I think he has some like 8 and Haaland has like 18 or something stupid like that. But yeah, good to see he is climbing the scoring charts. Another stat I seen this morning then, in the first 10 Premier League starts, he scored 7 goals, which is level with Mohamed Salah. He scored 7 in his first 10 starts. The only player to have a better start to their Liverpool career was Daniel Sturridge with 8. So he is right up there. He's been fantastic since he's come in. He's really hit the ground running. And if Isak is going to be out for the next few weeks, then Ekitike really has an opportunity to really grasp that spot, really make it his own. Let's hope he can continue that form, of course. Like, with Isak gone, we will need someone to step up and score the goals. Salah's gone to AFCON as well. So please, Hugo, please keep banging him in. Keep doing what you're doing, because, my God, what a man, what a player. Another thing to look out for the next game then. So Dominic Szoboszlai was booked, despite Richarlison shouting in his face after scoring. I'm not exactly sure what Szoboszlai was booked for, but he did get a yellow card, which means that the Liverpool midfielder is now suspended for next week's game against Wolves. So Dominic Szoboszlai will miss the game against Wolves. He will be a big loss, but look, we should be beating Wolves. Like, Wolves are on what, like 2 points still? Like, they're on track to beat Derby County's record at this point. Like, that is how shambolically bad they are, which is shocking. Like, they shouldn't be in that situation. Like, I can't say I follow Wolves that closely, but how are they gone so bad? Like, what's gone wrong? Like, please do let me know. Like, how are they that bad? Like, that is phenomenally bad. That is beyond fucking terrible, really. If we can't beat Wolves without Dominic Szoboszlai, that is a far bigger issue than missing Szoboszlai in the first place. So hopefully 3 points in that one. Hopefully he's not missed. Give him a bit of a rest. He's played a lot of minutes in the last couple of weeks as well, so he is suspended, but at least it wasn't like a really tough game that he's suspended for. Taking a quick look at the Premier League table then, so Liverpool currently sitting 5th, 2 points above 6th, who are Sunderland on 27 points. We're level with Chelsea in 4th. They're ahead of us on goal difference, and even the goal difference is mad. They're 9 goals ahead of us. Like, we're plus 3 after 17 games. Like, Man City are plus 25 and Arsenal are plus 21. That is shocking. Like, just, if that doesn't sum up our season so far, I don't know what does. Like, plus 3 after 17 games. That's pretty unheard of for us. But look, it is good. We're back in the top 5. We're level with Chelsea. Chelsea have their own problems, of course. They haven't been great in recent weeks. I'm still not convinced with the performances. I'm still not convinced by Arne Slot. Like, the fact that they were down to 9 men and we were still holding on for dear life at the end of that game is absolutely shambolic and a disgrace. Like, even 2-0 up against 10 men, like, that's a game we should be sitting back watching us score another 1 or 2. Like, we should be winning that game 3 or 4-0 at that point. Like, they shouldn't be given any chance to get back in. And we were scrambling and fighting for our lives there at the end, as if we were the team who had 9 men. And even Arne Slot made reference to that as well. He said that it seemed like we were the team with 9 men, basically, and he doesn't know what happened. But it's just not good enough. Like, again, it's a good result, ultimately. Like, winning away at Spurs is never a bad result. But, like, we shouldn't be in this position. Like, we should be absolutely hammering teams like this when we're in that situation. Like, even as a whole, this Liverpool team should be winning far more games, 2, 3, 4-0, like comfortable wins. We just don't ever win comfortably anymore. Even when we do, it's always just scraping a win. It's very reminiscent of the first 5 games of the season where we actually won the games, but they're always like late winners and just kind of, again, fighting for our lives. Like, it papers over a lot of cracks. And again, it's good to get points on the board, good to be back up in the top 4 or 5, but we really do need to improve. We need to improve the general performances. We need to get better at just closing out games when we are a goal or 2 up towards the end and just really get into our stride. Like I said, we're not killing teams easy enough. We're just not doing that. We've no killer instinct at all. Like, it seems more like individual performances are winning us games recently, more so than good tactics or good game management. And even yesterday, Spurs had a higher XG than us, having played the majority of the game with 10 men and a decent chunk with 9 men. Like, it's shambolic again. Like, I keep using that word, but it is. Like, Liverpool had 0.6 XG and Spurs had 1.01, which it's not exactly high either, to be fair. It's not like we're giving away loads of chances, but even that, like, Ekitike header, like, that was, he had no right to put that in, let's be honest. Like, winning that header, placing it so perfectly in the top corner as well, like, that was pure individual brilliance from him, more so than, like, we picked apart Spurs and we finally broke them down. Even Isak's one as well, like, that was a fantastic finish. Like, it was a good ball through from Wirtz, obviously, as well, but that's the striker's instinct. That's a bit of individual brilliance from Isak, rather, again, than a systematic thing that's, like, really broke down Spurs over the game. So, like I said, I'm not fully convinced. I'm delighted to be getting 3 points, obviously. Delighted to be back up in the top 4 or 5 and really pushing into those Champions League spots again. I think we will push on from here. Like, I think we will finish top 4. I think we're a better team than Chelsea. And surely if we start to click now, we have to hit our stride at some point and just somehow get in there. Like, again, I'm not convinced, but I'm definitely way happier now than I was a couple of weeks ago. That's all from me this morning anyway. If you have enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button. Craig will be live from 8:30 this evening for all the latest news. Hopefully we do have some positive updates around Alexander Isak and the other injury situations by then. Please do keep an eye out for that one. Hit the like button before you head out. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.